Well, I'll bring on the Parks Party member. Professor Meadowcroft, just an observation. You produced figures from the Heritage Foundation of everything taken off after 1800. Is this actually correct? Because it seems to me that one, certainly the quite high in Roman times, the quite high in Elizabethan times. If you're just going to go on monetary, perhaps they're so, but on rules scientific, I would say that this is one, incorrect. And two, if I may make an observation, you have taken the form of capitalism, of markets, the way you laid it down. But I would make an observation that capitalism at the present moment is more corporatism, and it isn't your model of capitalism that is actually in the world today and is actually going around. That's all, thanks.
There's 2 points there, very quickly. I should point out that the first figure that I used was actually not from the Heritage Foundation. It's from Marcus Madison, who used to work at the OECD. I just put it down. This is basically a compendium of lots of different studies. But Angus Madison is probably the leading economic historian in the world. And he's a professor of economics at somewhere in Sweden, I forget the exact university. And this is from peer-reviewed journal articles. I mean, this is statistically robust. It could well be true that there may be some tiny little points upwards in there, but I think it's so significant it wouldn't really show. So again, I mean, I've got to do research myself. I mean, as an academic, I take stuff from peer-reviewed journal articles, and because that's past a certain standard, I assume that's fairly accurate until there's a study done that disproves it. So I mean, that's the way I have to work. I mean, as an academic. So for me, that study is robust. The Heritage Foundation study, isn't peer-reviewed. I mean, and I would certainly give less weight to that, as one has to do. And your second point is a very fair point. One of the difficulties of comparing this debate is that going on your website saying, I believe I'm right saying that you believe that all, what I would call communist societies or socialist societies are not really socialist. So it's very hard for me to know what the target is, if you like. Equally, I would probably not accept the definition of capitalism either. I think you're right. That, the UK, for me, is a form of capitalism, clearly. But it's not a society that I want to defend in lots of ways. But, one has to produce a workable presentation for you guys. So I have to work with what I've got, in a sense. So, I agree. I believe in free markets. Within a framework of government. So what we have here is suboptimal from my point of view.
Okay, next person. Non-party member first. All right. Okay.
Just a quick one, maybe to avoid getting utopianism on either side.
I don't think they can hear you with that.
Okay, all right. So just for my sake, and maybe to avoid getting utopianism on either side of the debate, because we should just maybe start talking about the labour theory of value. That's all I've got to say.
What do you want to say about that?
You tell me.
Gentlemen,
It occurs to me that that John's talking really about the mechanics of society, where socialism is all about the ethics and morals. But John points out to the fact that he believes there should be a minimum wage, or is there anything that socialism is when it comes down to it? The fact that you care about people isn't cold and mechanical.
I think just about.
This system to work, you have to have control of the money supply. Today, money is created out of nothing, out of thin air, as a compound interest-bearing debt, that's enslaving us all, irrespective of white, green, yellow, socialist, everybody, from cradle to grave. Unless you take control of the money supply system, you don't get anywhere, number one. Number two, the credit assets, toxic assets, they're running at $700 trillion. What it means is the whole of the world is bankrupt. is 50 times the GDP of the world. Any amount of quantitative easing is not going to clear that debt. This is the ideal time for us to bring in a new system where you introduce interest-free loans for productive capacity, get at the money market out of the whole system. Because money is created out of nothing. Why should it be that compound interest should be charged on something created out of nothing? Do we have to pay for IR? You see, that is the crux of the whole thing. This is where social sector didn't succeed. This is where every other system didn't succeed. If I control the issue of the money supply, I cannot do rights law. That's the government of the Bank of England. That was said in 1684. We have been under that yoke all these years. Absolute failure on the free market here, absolute failures on everybody. Where come?
Okay, who's itching to speak from outside of the party? Anyone?
Can I resign for purposes of speaking?
Gentleman, green shirt, you next.
Yeah, I'm not an academic, so when I see a lot of material like this, I do struggle with it. I'd like to make an observation, not necessarily a question, and for response to an observation about the recession. Firstly, from what I do know, demand is based on the ability to pay. So if you're starving and you've got no money, you can't buy any food. And if you're thirsty and you haven't got any money, then you can't drink the water because demand is based on the ability to pay. But a sort of more interesting thing, less interesting, but it's like this. Over the last few weeks, I keep turning on the news, turning on the TV, and I read my newspapers, and it tells us how worse everything is. I think there's been an attempt at Keynesianism, but we give the money to the banks instead of the firms or the public expenditure. And then we've suddenly got Gresham's law coming in, and what we've got is good money going after bad. So when I'm watching one of these programmes, the news that's on Channel 4 or whatever, it seems to me the start of all this was bankers lending money out to people who couldn't pay it back. This is a very raw analysis of it, and I'm sure there's a much more clever one. And then I see all this on the TV, then there's a break in the news, there's an advert, and then it comes back on, and when those adverts are on, it says, we're targeting benefit fraud, right? We're targeting benefit fraud. So what I sort of know of this, I don't believe in benefit fraud. But it's possible that the people who are doing benefit fraud are probably very skilled people who are trying to add a bit of money to what they get from benefit by doing jobs on the side.
The royal family.
Well, the royal family as well. So my point is, why does the system always target the people that are easiest to get? Why aren't some of these bankers being strung up?
You're talking about the free market economy as it applies to the entirety of society. But the fact is that it just doesn't apply. The free market economy is basically for the punters. The mechanism for the punters, the mechanism that capitalism uses at the level of the state is the state. The mechanism is not the free market. You have whole state departments monitoring imports, exports, regulating the economy, and they've done that for hundreds of years. Yeah? Just basically making sure that the thing works. Because the thing does not work without these external inputs. What happens is that capitalism is the mechanism of exploitation. Capitalism is for us. Yeah? Capitalism is the way that we work in order only to get what we need to get back through the door on Monday morning to work again, and a mechanism where